Have you ever just stopped to think that the universe might be speaking a language? Not with words, but with numbers. A kind of fundamental code that underpins everything, from the way a galaxy spins to the very architecture of our DNA. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into this cosmic code and ask the big question. Is our reality just a product of pure chance, or is it all part of some grand, deliberate design?
Okay, so to get our heads around the infinite, let's actually start with something finite. Picture a really simple computer program. Its only job is to count up, forever. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3. But here's the thing, it can't go on forever. Sooner or later, it hits a wall, and boom, it resets right back to 0. It's called integer overflow. The computer's memory, its entire world, has a hard limit. For a pretty common 32-bit system, that limit is just over 4.2 billion. The second it tries to count one number higher, its memory just can't handle it, and the whole system collapses back to the start. It's like a digital cage, right? Defined by finite space. But what if there was a number that could just break right out of that cage?
Well, meet pi. Yeah, that number we all learned about in school, the one that defines the simple perfection of a circle. But here's where it gets wild. Unlike that mighty computer's world, pi has no limit. It just goes on and on and on forever, with no repeating pattern. It's just an endless, totally chaotic string of digits. Okay, so let's really get into this. The fact that pi is endless is way more than just some math curiosity. Because you see, there's a ton of evidence suggesting this number isn't just for describing circles, it might actually be describing the universe itself.
Yeah, far from being stuck in your old geometry textbook, we find pi woven into the actual fabric of reality. It shows up in the most unexpected and most fundamental places you can imagine.
I mean, get this. Pi pops up in the equations that describe how the tiniest particles behave in quantum physics. We can literally see its signature in the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background. It even helps us predict how prime numbers are spread out, and those are the very building blocks of math. This is no coincidence, folks. It's a constant.
And what's really fascinating, what's truly mind-blowing, is that this deep connection doesn't seem to be some modern discovery. We're talking thousands of years ago. Cultures that knew nothing about quantum mechanics were embedding this cosmic constant into their most incredible structures.
The Great Pyramid of Giza is just a stunning example. If you take its perimeter and divide it by twice its original height, the number you get is 99.96% accurate to the value of pi. Now, they might not have written down the formula like we do, but they felt that ratio. They built with it. But as it turns out, pi wasn't the only special number they were working with. Because pi, it seems, has a partner in this whole cosmic dance, another famous, incredible number known as the golden ratio, or phi.
Phi, the golden ratio, is a proportion that our eyes, for whatever reason, find incredibly beautiful. You see it everywhere, in nature. The spiral of a seashell, the way trees branch out, even the proportions of the human face. For centuries, artists and architects have used it to create this amazing sense of natural harmony.
But here's the real kicker. These numbers aren't just independent of each other. There is a deep, hidden link between them. Pi isn't just some other beautiful number. You can actually derive it directly from pi, just like this formula shows. It tells us that these two fundamental constants are intrinsically connected, like two sides of the very same cosmic coin.
And once you know to look for this pair, pi and phi, you start seeing them absolutely everywhere. It suggests that ancient builders all across the globe were somehow working from the same universal blueprint.
Think about this. More than 2,000 years before the Parthenon in Greece was built using the golden ratio, the Egyptians had already encoded both pi and phi into the Great Pyramid. Then, 2,000 years after that, architects in Persia built the dome of the Shah Mosque with a ratio matching phi, while its amazing tile work was based on the geometry of pi. 3 different cultures, separated by millennia and entire continents, all speaking the same mathematical language of the universe.
All right, so we've seen this code in the physical world, in stone and stars. Now let's shift gears into the world of pure information, because this is where we find the most staggering implication of pi's infinite nature.
So if a number sequence is truly infinite and never repeats, a property mathematicians call being normal, then it has to, by pure definition, contain every possible finite string of numbers. That means every date, every phone number, and if you convert letters to numbers, it means every word, every book, and every conversation that has ever been or ever will be is in there.
It's an idea that was famously explored in a short story called The Library of Babel, which imagined a library that had every possible 410-page book. Of course, most of it is just complete gibberish, but somewhere on those shelves is the complete story of your life, the cure for every disease, the entire history of the universe. Pi is that library, written in numbers.
Let's try to wrap our heads around this. Imagine a program that just generates a screen full of random colored pixels every time you hit a button. Any image is possible, right? A perfect copy of the Mona Lisa, a scene from your favorite movie, even a perfect picture of you, right now, watching this.
So here's the crucial point. The chance of seeing that same random image pop up twice is 1 in 10 to the power of 15 million. To put that in perspective, there are only about 10 to the power of 80 atoms in the entire known universe. So yeah, it's practically impossible. But in an infinite sequence like pi, it's not just possible, it is mathematically guaranteed to happen. And that, well, that brings us to the biggest question of all.
Why is our universe so perfect for life? I mean, out of all the infinite possibilities, how did we end up in a reality with laws that seem like they were tailor-made just for us to exist?
This is what's known as the fine-tuning problem. The basic constants of physics, things like the strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, they are all balanced on a razor's edge. If you just tweaked any one of them by the tiniest, most minuscule amount, the universe as we know it just couldn't exist. No stars, no planets, no life. The odds of getting all these values right by random chance are just, well, they're astronomically small.
It's like hitting that random pixel button one time and getting a perfect frame-by-frame replay of an entire movie. The sheer improbability of it all has led scientists and philosophers down two very different and equally profound paths.
So on one hand, you have the first possibility, that it wasn't chance at all, that some kind of super-intellect or a creator deliberately set the dials of the universe to the exact settings needed for life. And then there's the second possibility, that our universe is just one of an infinite number of parallel universes, a multiverse. In that scenario, every possible combination of physical laws exists somewhere, and we just happen to be living in one of the very rare universes where the conditions turned out to be right.
But even the multiverse idea doesn't totally escape the question of design. I mean, what created the multiverse? What kind of mechanism, what universe-making machine is churning out all these different realities? The very existence of a machine like that might itself imply there was an architect behind it all.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to the numbers pi and phi, embedded in our reality, from the Great Pyramids all the way to the stars. This hidden code seems to connect everything. So, are these patterns a clue, maybe left for us by a grand designer? Or are we simply the inevitable winners of an infinite cosmic lottery, the one universe out of countless others that just happened to get everything right? The code is there. What it means? Well, that's for us to decide.